I think, first of all, with Dickerson, because it's a one-year deal and it's not that much money, I know a lot of people are screaming for him to be DFA'd, but I think right now with the injuries to outfielders, Carlson, O'Neill, it doesn't make sense right now. But when those guys come back, and now we're pushing the halfway point of the season, if Dickerson isn't performing, I could see that happening. I think with Hicks, I still like him as a big league pitcher. At this point, though, he's not giving you the opportunity to win games most nights out there as a starter. He can still be a bulk reliever. You're still going to need that. Problem is, Matt's hurt. Flaherty's not back. That's the issue. And it gets back to why a lot of folks wanted more of a veteran starter. You're now counting on even Dakota Hudson lately coming off an injury. You're not loving his performances. Matthew Liberatore has great upside. He struggled the other day against the Pirates, and there were a lot of loud outs. But I think he's going to be really good. He
goes Saturday.
Right. I'm just saying Matthew Liberatore long term I think is going to be very good. But a lot of starters struggle their first time up. You do have some good arms at Memphis with you got Connor Thomas, Zach Thompson, the first rounder who had bad numbers last year. He's solid. So I think you have some options. I'm not ready to give up on Verhagen. I still think he can be a valuable bulk guy, but they got some innings to cover, and they got some uncertainty with about 3 guys in their rotation.
I mean, Verhagen's pitched in less than 10 games. So,
exactly.
I mean, you're not going to. And as for Hicks, I do state this. Like, I don't think the Cardinals, it was purely this guy has to be a starter because of his makeup. It was also a guy who has had injuries, and they felt like health-wise, giving him a set system, a set rotation could help him avoid injury. That's why, I think he was great in the bullpen. I would have kept him there, but the Cardinals really believed by giving him a whole format on how he gets through his week, where there's not getting up to warm up in an inning, not being used, maybe working that night, and then you can't use him the next night. This is a whole different process as a starter, and they thought it was better for his health and getting the most out of him.
And they're doing a similar situation with Helsley. Now, not to the same level, but they're using his off days and using the off days for the team to say, okay, if he gets a couple days off, we can throw him 2 innings, and then he sits for a couple days, and he throws 1 inning, then we rest him, because as Ollie said yesterday and has said many times that he wants to make sure Ryan Helsley is healthy for 162. I could see a similar situation with Jordan Hicks where you use him as a bulk reliever, so he's going to throw 2 innings, 2 1/3, and then he's going to need probably 2 to 3 days off. It's hard, though, in a bullpen to kind of schedule all of that. If you're scheduling Helsley's off days, if you're scheduling Hicks's off days, you start to have these nights where you don't have a lot of people available.
You can't have 2 guys like that. You maybe can get around 1. 2 is near impossible. And then the other thing is, if you look at Hicks's stuff, and I'm talking about when he can command that fastball/sinker, he is a deadly weapon. Like, he has had great moments. His stuff is unhittable when he's on. I don't know if I want to just use him as a bulk reliever. You can get guys to do that who don't have even near the stuff he has. But I understand it's not, with Hicks, it's not just about getting the best out of him. It's trying to keep him healthy so you can get the most out of him.
But I think when I say bulk reliever, I feel like some people will hear that term and they think about it in the old school way of a journeyman middle reliever. And nowadays, those relievers have tons of value. Those guys who, look, I mean, what's the difference really? If Jordan Hicks is going to give you a 3 or 4 inning start that's not great and you don't have a great chance to win, is it that much different if somebody else gives you 4 innings and Hicks comes in and hopefully is effective in the 5th, 6th and throws 2 2/3? Right? He's still going to probably throw 60 pitches. It's really not that much different.
To me, because a bulk reliever, whether you intend to or not, are going to have to pick up the slack in a 5-0 game, right? I mean, you need a guy to do that, and based on the way the bullpen's been used, it's going to happen. And I'm just saying his stuff is so good, I don't know if I want to waste him in that kind of game.
See, I think if you're watching all these Cardinals games recently, so how many games have you had a Dakota Hudson or a Hicks? It just happened with Liberatore. And by the way, it's going to happen again with Liberatore. Chances are, as a rookie, you're not going to go out there and throw 6 or 7. There's going to be a lot of games, I think, where if it's Hicks, if it's Hudson, if it's Liberatore, they're going to go 4 1/3 or 4 2/3. They're going to leave a ball game that's 2-1 or 2-2 or 3-2. And yeah, that reliever is going to come in with a chance to win a game. So I don't think that bulk reliever is a mop-up guy.
636 chimes in and goes, I used to watch every game I can get my eyes on. Why should I care anymore? When it's apparent that Mo and Co. don't care either.
Is this the same guy?
No, it's a different guy. It's a different guy. Hold on, I'll get through it. Mo and Co. doesn't care either. Several years now of not addressing glaring team needs prior to and during the season. Add on Manfred's antics and its sad days for baseball. The cat is an exception, of course. Well, that was nice.
Well, I was actually reading a text when he said the nice thing, so I know what he said. But I just don't know, like, I understand that, sometimes the roster doesn't shake out the way you want it to. And sometimes you could say something like, I wish they would have gotten Jock Peterson. And it turns out they would have been better served to get Jock Peterson. But the Cardinals have been consistently good.
Yeah.
Like, that's everyone around baseball, other executives from other teams know the Cardinals don't have to rebuild because they're efficient with the money they spend, and they generally make decent moves. In baseball, not everything works out, and there's been some bad ones, no question.
Of course.
But the Cardinals have been, generally speaking, in a very good place where every year you expect them to compete at the very least.
And they do.
I agree with that. And going into this season, I think if you're John Mozeliak, you said, look, I like our big league roster position player-wise. And, oh, by the way, they were high on and still are, obviously, Juan Yepez and Nolan Gorman.
Yeppy.
And even Nootbaar as whatever he can be, whether it's a fourth outfielder. And I agree with that. But I don't think it's second-guessing to see what we've seen with the starting pitching after the injuries to Flaherty and Reyes. That's two big pieces.
Yeah.
And Flaherty, obviously, your ace, and Reyes was going to compete as a starter, even if he wasn't going to earn that spot. I think he was also going to be a multi-inning reliever. So you're talking about covering innings. And so I don't think it's Monday morning quarterbacking to say, well, look, you're always going to have an injury, so you got an injury with Matz. Flaherty's taking longer than we thought, or the Cardinals are making sure he comes back 100%. Dak Hudson was coming off Tommy John from a year or so ago. I know he pitched in the minors last year. By the way, we had uncertainty with Miles Mikolas, who's been unbelievable. So that's great. But I do think coming into this season, you could have very easily foreseen this situation happening, where you have an injury and then the Hicks situation didn't work out exactly as planned. And now you're plugging guys in that you don't have a lot of – you like their upside, but you don't have a lot of confidence at the big league level that they can go out there and give you a consistent 6-inning quality type start.
I think that's fair. I mean, if you go back, I think we both agreed, get Hap now. We both said that. So if you have Hap, that takes a lot of the pressure off some of the other guys that they're looking at as possible plug-in pieces, right? But I always get fooled. I always think, all right, they got enough. They have other options if someone gets hurt, and they never have enough. I mean, no team has enough starting pitching, right? So I always get a little bit fooled, but I did say Hap is right there. It's like that little emergency break glass in case of emergency, and there's like a little J Hap in there. I would have broken that glass.
little J Hap in there. Hey, Nate, what's he talking about with the Manfred antics?
What's up?
What's he talking about with the ad? He goes 636 add on Manfred's antics and its sad days for baseball. What's he talking about?
He's Rob Manfred is the commissioner of baseball, which it's just kind of like a toxic relationship right now between the players and the commissioner's office. We saw it in the work stoppage, and I think a lot of fans feel alienated by a commissioner who's trying to attract new fans to the game, but I've long said, you don't find a baseball fan in his mid-20s who just wakes up and says, I'm going to be a baseball fan today. You grow up with the game. You grow up either playing or having a catch with your dad or whatever, and, you go to the ballpark, and that's how you become kind of uniquely attached to the game. And they're trying to, grow it in a way, make it cool, and, wow, look at all these home runs, and, the pitcher throws 105 miles an hour. Yeah, he doesn't throw strikes, but don't worry about that. Come look at the radar gun.
He takes 45 seconds between pitches.
Did you just say something that will make me love you even more?
What?
Did you just say have a cat?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I love it.
He did. Have a catch.
Have a
man.
catch.
That's what I
Your
say.
kid
I
needs to
get
know how to
killed.
throw a baseball.
Dude,
Play
I had a
catch.
catch
It's not.
almost
It's
all
have
day
a
long.
catch.
Yeah.
Play catch.
What do you say?
Play catch.
I don't know what I say.
Because you had a puck.
Yeah.
Seth, do you say play catch or have a catch?
Play catch. But I kind of like have a catch.
No.
No, not on this show.
No.
Nate, what is that movie with Kevin Costner that is the definitive baseball movie
Bull
of
Durham.
all time?
Bull
No.
Durham.
You're talking Field of Dreams.
Oh, Field of Dreams.
Field of
I
Dreams.
knew
Bull,
that.
Bull Durham is better, but you're talking about
Well,
because they
I'm
say that.
because I'm trying to make a
I
point.
know.
Trying to make.
Wow.
What did Kevin Costner say to his father in this heartwarming tale of family and love of baseball, which is the definitive baseball movie of our lifetime? He said, "Want to have a catch." End of story. So you're right, Nate. And
You're right,
I like
Nate.
you.
Thank
You've
you.
been right on a lot of things,
Thank
man.
you.
And you know what? I like they played that game there. That was really cool, actually.
What game?
They played a game at Field of Dreams, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Wasn't that
the,
cool? Yeah.
the
Kevin
Cardinals.
Costner, he walks out there, he looks like he's 40 years old.
They
Remember?
come-
Yeah, that was pretty damn cool. A lot of little bars in that little area got a lot of money from people.
By the way, Kevin Costner, you could tell because I know you're a big. Forgot the name of the show. What's the show?
Yellowstone.
So I'm also a big fan, even though I forgot the name. But Kevin Costner, first couple seasons. Now, clearly, that dude still a ladies' man,
Oh,
but you could tell
wheel.
he had put a little weight on. But then he got that summer where everybody was watching him at the Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
He was out there. He was doing interviews. He was giving speeches. He got real slim and trim for that.
He looked good.
And then the next couple seasons of Yellowstone, now he's like old school Kevin Costner.
He got shot 15 times in one episode, which was ridiculous.
How
They
about
need
the
to
fact-
tone that down
Well,
a
how
little
about the
bit.
fact that that particular episode, I love the show still, but when you talk about jumping the shark,
Oh, my
back
God.
in the day with Fonzie,
Yeah.
you can't have 3 or 4 different family members all get shot with machine guns for like 7 minutes straight and no one dies.
And no one dies. And they're in like a cross section. Like
Oh, that happens.
everybody should have died there. Like everyone. It was too much.
I just watched it and I go, this is no longer believable.
It was
in any way,
ridiculous. You
shape,
didn't
or
have
form.
to do that.
And also,
I
don't
like
make
going downtown when there's shootings, though.
Oh, jeez.
there's
That's sensitive today.
Please also be fair with Kevin Costner. He's playing the role of this guy who lives on a ranch where they eat biscuits and gravy 3 times a day. It's accurate to have a little belly.
That
Hold
chef
on.
is a real chef, by the way. Their chef in the show is a real guy for Paramount, and he cooks all day long, and he just got the role. It's actually pretty cool.
That is cool. I didn't know that.
Yep.
He's also, though, even though he's got to be in his, 65? Is he
Yeah,
close to
something
70?
like that, yeah.
But he's a wheel in the show. He's wheeling the governor
Oh, that's right.
of, is it Wyoming? Is that where they're at? I mean, in the
yeah,
show.
Yeah,
In
Wyoming,
Okay.
probably, yep.
He's wheeling
You
the
guys
governor.
don't know where it's based?
Well,
I can't remember if it was
Yellowstone's in
Dakota.
Wyoming and Montana.
I think it's Montana.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably
it's
Montana
Montana.
because the park goes above. Go ahead.
So he's wheeling the governor of Montana, who's a good-looking lady, probably in her 50s.
Yeah.
Then he wheels Piper Perabo, who was the star of Coyote Ugly. Remember, she's
Oh,
the
yeah.
activist.
Yep.
He wheeled her, and she's
Oh,
probably
the
about,
activist.
She's probably about 45.
Yeah.
And he's probably about what, 67?
He's a wheel, man. He doesn't age. He's got that money that we talked about where you like you get like an oil change or something, and you just look young. I want that kind of money.
The blood.
I want to
trans-
look young. The blood transfusion. These guys that have been doing drugs their whole life, and they're still just on stage doing their
You
thing.
think he's getting blood transfusions to keep him looking young?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yes.
I would be taking all
I will
kinds of
say
stuff.
that it's a pretty well-known fact that in Hollywood, a lot of the actors use human growth
HGH,
hormone
baby.
legally because it's prescribed by doctors.
Why don't we all do that? How much does that cost? Everybody else doesn't. Like, I remember, like, people were like, you can't do HGH
All
in
right, well,
hockey.
check
Like, I
with
want to do it
mentality.
now. I want to do it now.
Check with
Yeah,
mentality.
exactly.
Maybe they can give you the info.
Yeah.
That's the place, right?
Exactly right.
He's
Yep.
67.
And he looks good, dude. Clumpy has been hired as Mo's personal bow tie selector. World Series, here we come.
Mo doesn't even wear
That's
bow
cool.
ties anymore.
Yeah, he's more of the
That was like 5 years
the
ago.
sweater, and he ties it.
I think
I
he still
know.
wears bow ties on big occasions,
He's cool, man.
doesn't he?
Mo is
I haven't
legit.
noticed.
The Mo hate is just ridiculous.
You don't. So you don't agree with it.
I'm a Mo lemming.
Good.
Oh, wow.
And explain why. Because I'm a rights holder.
well, first of all-
I'm a lemming because I'm afraid he'll fire me.
Yeah.
You know, I think he gets a lot out of maybe the budget that he's allotted. Does he hit a home run every time? I don't know.
No pun intended.
Nobody does. But I don't know. He's proud to work for a really good organization that wins a lot. And I think he's down to earth, and I don't know, he's kind of funny.
Yeah, he's kind of a smart ass.
And available.
Yeah.
Like there's some teams that have executives like they're in a bubble. You never see him. Mo talks to the fans. Mo is pretty available.
I think the fans that really chirp him, you have to look at the big picture. The man's never had a losing season.
Yeah, man.
In his life.
Ever?
How many people can say that?
I mean,
He's never had a losing season.
This show can.
We've had losing shows every day. But I also think it's fair to say that that 2011 to 2015 Cardinals run, it may never be duplicated. I mean, they're a top 5 team in baseball for 5 years. They're either making the World Series or the NLCS basically every year. The one year they did in 2015, they win 100 games. And then the Cubs, I don't want to call them a dynasty, but the Cubs team kind of ascended right during that year.
Yep.
But I also think it's fair to say since then, the Cardinals, they went from a top 5-ish team to more like a top 10, 11, 12-ish team. So they're still really competitive. They still usually make the playoffs. They're not as elite. I know they made the NLCS in 2019. They got swept by the Nationals. I think if you're a Cardinals fan, you can also say they're maybe too complacent in the 85 to 90 win, just get in the playoffs and let's see what happens mode. I think that's fair.
Okay. 855-282-8255. As long as Costner doesn't get shot with Alec Baldwin's gun, he's safe. Rob Dibble.
Nate, what do you think about that?
What do you think about that, Nate? Nothing's happening to Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, I am. I don't really know what to say.
Because anytime Alec Baldwin's brought up, usually you come over the top rope.
You're a fan.
Today's
He
a little
sucks.
tough to be cracking jokes
True.
about
is
guns
true.
and.
That was a tough night last night. No, that's fair.
You're right.
That's completely fair. Let's see. Speaking of
You're
Field
right.
of Dreams, matchup needs to be changed this year. Reds and Cubs. Are they doing that again?
Awful.
Reds and Cubs. That's what you want, homeboy.
Reds
Get
and
on with
Cubs.
yourself. Or
No,
homebro.
that's what it is.
Oh, it is.
That's the game.
Oh God. Ugh.
Cubs have
That's
the
like
whole
that's like Coyotes and the Jets playing.
Cubs AAA still in Iowa, correct? So they got a big fan base.
Oh yeah, for the Cubs, but
But they
Cincinnati.
And also when the Cardinals fans feel bad, and they have every right to feel the way they should. It's their money they're laying down. But I mean, you talk about rebuilding. Look at the Cubs. I mean, they go from this to being a team that's one of the better teams. Then they tear down everything. The Cardinals haven't had to
done
do
that.
a tear down.
The Cardinals have.
Some would argue that they should have, but I don't know if that's acceptable. Like, do you want to watch a team that's going to lose 110 games? That seems awful. But then again, if you're just sort of muddling around as a 80 to 85 win team, are you really competing with the Dodgers of the world, the Nationals
I know
of the
if you
world?
can, but remember 2011, right? They were dead in the water. They came
No
back.
doubt.
No one thought they were a good team anyway, and they won it all. I mean, if you have a decent team and you get in, anything can happen.
That's where I understand it. There are some years, and maybe this wouldn't have made a difference, but I do think, for example, 2019, there was a real need for starting pitching, and Zach Wheeler was out there. And I think there's some years where you have the need and they don't go for it. And I'm not saying Zach Wheeler would have all of a sudden put them over the top. They win the World Series. But in some of these years, you never know. I remember last year, post-trade deadline, I go to a Cardinals game as a fan. They're playing the Braves. It was right after the trade deadline. So the Cardinals had picked up Happ, Lester. They already had LeBlanc. So they make some moves that make sense. The Braves redid their entire outfield. They got all those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, the Cardinals and the Braves were right around 500. They were both kind of real close in the standings. And the Braves won the World Series. So I also understand why Mosaic DeWitt, they say there's a lot of teams that if you can get to 87 wins and you get in and you get hot, you can win the World Series. But more years than not, you have to make solid improvements to beat the Dodgers of the world. I mean, that Nationals team, look at that pitching staff they had.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to beat Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg, and at the time, who's the lefty? Corbin. I mean, they had some
monsters.
firepower.
The Cardinals have one division, and one wild card since 2016. Mo is out of touch with modern baseball. He consistently grabs from the bargain barrel and does just enough for them to be able to talk about the possibility of a second wild card. Rockwood Rectal Rooter.
All right, so
He was aiming that at you, Jim.
So we don't have Goldschmidt first base. You don't have Arenado at third base. In a deal where, I mean, how they engineered that to get Arenado is pretty amazing. I mean, that's your corner infield. You got 5 Gold Gloves on the defense, right? You're having a nice farewell year with Yachty and Albert. They've had some pitching problems. They've had some guys who aren't hitting the way they should, and they're still over 500 and competing. I just don't understand to act like they got Arenado and Goldschmidt, right? In the past, they picked up Berkman, Holiday. I mean, they've made moves to get better. I just don't. I understand what Charlie says. You're saying, look, when they're in a playoff push and there's a guy out there, they're not as aggressive as some other teams, and that's true. But don't act like he doesn't know what he's doing, and we never get the top flight players. Are there players that are better than the guys you have at the corners? Really, when you think about it,
Even Ozuna made sense. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
That deal made sense. That's what they needed at the time.
Yes, Cards have been good, but could probably be exceptional with a few moves. Not bargain bin and see what sticks. 636.
bargain bin.
That's their words, not mine.
Unless you're the Dodgers, which, I mean, it's amazing how they put that team together. You can't have the best player at every position.
Yeah.
And, the team that I'm surprised by, like Atlanta went out when they knew it wasn't going to work out with Freeman. They made that move. They let him go. They bring in a guy who's the same player, only younger.
Matt Olson.
And they have a good team, and they're playing bad baseball. You never know how it's going to work out.
Is Olson still? Olson got off to a raging start. I haven't looked. I'll look up his numbers.
He's still doing well.
But even the Dodgers, and we all look at the Dodgers and we're happy that they spend. They have an all-star freaking lineup. And they have been basically in the World Series almost every single year. But they have one title, and it was in the bubble.
Yeah.
They have one title, and it was the COVID-shortened year. So,
COVID title.
So even though every year they have the best team on paper, they've won one World Series in a shortened season.
The author of Field of Dreams, W.P. Kinsella, was from Alberta, Canada, and we all know Canadians know nothing about baseball, play ball. No, you're wrong on that.
Joey Votto?
No, you're wrong on that,
Stubby?
homeboy.
Why do you hate Stubby and Tyler O'Neill?
I'm telling you this right now. Hockey and baseball are the two things. Look, you ask any of these guys. Do we interview these guys up in Saskatchewan and Alberta all the damn time? What'd you do growing up? Played hockey and baseball. Hockey and baseball. Softball, baseball. They play it all the time up there. So they do. They like baseball up in Canada. Everybody likes baseball. They do. They play baseball in Canada.
They play fast pitch men's underhand softball.
Dude, no thank you.
They do.
I know. It's like you're just asking for a ball to the head. I saw a video of a guy get cranked the other day. Because they come up, now in those softball games, the pitcher will come up and fake you out, fake, and then throw a weird pitch at you, and you just lean up and tee into the damn thing, and it goes a line drive right to the pitcher. He's 5 feet from you. No way am I doing that. And not to mention, running the bases, you might rip your ankle out. Trying to catch a ball in the outfield when there's holes out there, it's not trimmed up and nice, some of these fields. It's dangerous.
Baseball.
And I'm a hockey player.
Baseball's a pretty safe sport.
Baseball's pretty safe. Softball, in those softball games, guys are getting hurt all the time.
Softball's pretty, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, but you're just running, and you'd hit a little, I don't know. It's
Softball's even
it's funny.
safer.
You're right.
Unless you trip over the bottle of beer you put,
Here's my point.
Put next to you in the outfield.
Anytime I see my buddies I haven't seen in a while, and it's softball season, they always have an injury. They roll their ankle, they do this. It's what happened to you? I got hit by a ball, or I tried to, go past third, and I rolled my ankle on something. Because you're just busting your ass, and you haven't done it. I don't know. Who am I kidding? I play hockey, man. Guys get hurt all the time. Limb nice skates and stuff. Take a puck off the foot. Ugh, no thanks.
Softball used to be fun. I would play third base, and I used to have an arm. Now I play have a catch with my son.
Yeah.
And I can't even throw it 10 feet anymore.
Dude, my shoulder, man. I can't do it. But I know how to do it. I know how to do it.
Would you look okay throwing a baseball?
Right now, 100%.
It is funny. When you
Let's try it.
Right, you see a grown man who you could tell has never thrown a ball.
Oh, God.
You think less of him.
Well, you're like, what'd you
should be able to throw a
do?
ball.
That's true.
100%. Jimmy, You got a son that he needs to know how to throw a ball. Like, that's the first thing you do.
Right.
Here's a ball. Throw it at the wall. Do whatever. I don't
By the
get
way,
that. Just like Matty Whitener not being able to swim. Go ahead.
so now that I'm retired from men's league baseball for about 5 years now I'm a coach. So now I'm a T-ball coach. We had our last game on Sunday. Great season by the Cavaliers. And we had a kid. We had a kid who can freaking swing it. So we have like 10 kids on the team. There was only about 6 or 7 that showed up on the final game. So it was the last game. It was a rain out and all that.
Whatever.
So every other kid, including my daughter, when they go up there, each time you kind of have to set their feet. You know, let's make sure you put the bat where it is. You even kind of do that half swing to kind of show them, hey, make contact with the ball, not the tee. That's the key because all these kids hit the tee. So we got one kid who can freaking rake. Like he's got his own helmet with his name on it.
Oh.
So he comes up, and I never say anything because as a coach, you don't mess with something that's right. Like he's the only kid on the team that I don't even give him any advice.
And you pretend like it's your coaching that got him to
no,
be good.
I
You
just
should.
I've
No,
watched him swing.
You tell his parents, yeah, I gave him a few tips.
So here's the deal. So these T-balls, by the way, they're actually not that soft. I mean, they're not a baseball, but there's a core in there. They're a little cushy. But if you got hit with that ball, it would hurt. This kid, first inning of the game, you only play like a 2 or 3 inning game. And all the coaches do this. When a kid comes up and you go, hey, this kid can hit, because there's a red line in the field where all the kids have to be behind the red line for their safety. But every coach goes, hey, man, this guy can hit, so maybe back your kids up a couple feet. And it was the one time I said, hey, this kid can hit. This kid dotted a kid's face.
That's not funny.
It's not funny.
Not funny.
He hit a ball. He hit a laser beam off a kid's face right down the middle. Like it would have been a single up the middle if it wasn't the shift.
Yeah.
Right off
Was the
this
kid
kid's
picking
face.
flowers or something?
No. But it's, dude, this kid can hit. So he had to get his ice pack. I can't
Well,
remember
why
if he
does
came
he
back.
move up a thing or something?
Oh, I'm just saying he can hit.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's
It wasn't
okay.
anybody's
It's an
fault.
accident.
Oh, okay.
So you know my coaching prowess is legendary. I've had offers as a coach at the college level based on my coaching of youth basketball. But I'm going to give you, Charlie, a rule, and this goes for anyone. It's hard to find something that is always correct. But if you're coaching youth sports, it doesn't matter if it's baseball, soccer, basketball, and the other coach, and again, we're talking about youth, the other coach is wearing a shirt that says coach, you're going to beat his team.
Yes.
When you're looking at any team that is 2 teams about to play a game, the one team that's coached by a coach who has a shirt that says coach. They're going to lose.
Yoink.
How about this, though? The I-9 sports program, to be a certified coach, you actually have to go through what takes about an hour of taking online surveys, quizzes, and
A
watching
whole
videos.
hour.
Well, and I mean a legit hour. We're talking a 45-minute video that you have to go through the steps and answer questions. And then every coach has a red shirt that says certified coach. So it's both coaches wearing the red shirt.
Oh,
So
you're
what do you
going to
think
smoke
there?
them.
2 losers.
Yeah, you're going to smoke
Both
them.
teams?
Yes.
So
It'll
I'm
be
a
a
loser.
tie.
They're both
I'm a
gonna lose.
loser, and that guy's a loser.
Okay,
They're gonna
I don't
tie.
know if it's a league that makes you wear a certain shirt. I've never seen that, so I'll step off on that
This
one.
is T-ball.
Okay, and I never coached T-ball. I just know when, sometimes when you play for a league, they'll give you the shirt.
Yeah.
When they give out the jerseys that says coach, I never wore it. Sometimes the parents will make a shirt that says coach. I never wore it. I pretend I'm appreciative of it. But anytime you look over at the other team, at their bench, and there's a guy wearing a shirt that says coach, you go, kids, we got this one.
Exactly. It's just like
We got this one.
when you're skating in summer league and you see a kid that has, shoelace over his shin pads and they're tied, like he's probably not very good, Or he's
You know
got
you're
black
gonna win.
toques. There's a lot of things you could look at somebody and be like, yeah, I bet you're not that good. Just from his get up. Anywho, slightly off topic, but I just read Huffington Post. Nazem Kadri has been asked to do a TED Talk with the topic being perseverance in overcoming racial inequality. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of that going on, man. And you know what? Probably teach some people.
So what's going to happen tonight?
Should we break and
Jim,
cheese?
let's break and we'll break it down because people are asking on text line what we think about tonight, and we got our opinion on it. And I don't know if it seems somewhat bleak, but you never know. Anytime we thought they're going to get their ass kicked, they kind of crawled out of it and had a pretty good game. But then again, you tie everything together, man. Colorado's going to be tough at home.